The Bitcoin market, the crypto market, the altcoin market, the memes are absolutely tanking to the downside. Is it over for the crypto bull run? Or is this just a big shakeout trying to shake out the tourists? Have you been shaken out? Let me know in the live comments right now, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Pump Fund, whether you're watching on X, wherever you're watching, I can see the live comments right here. Let me know, are you worried here? Have you already sold, or have you taking advantage of some of these downside price action? I got some key signals today that are going to show you why I do believe that this is a shakeout, not just for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but many of these altcoins that are spilling when everything in the landscape just feels like it is overwhelmingly bullish. Why is the market dumping? Because when we look into this, we're seeing across the board, we're seeing red, okay, stablecoin, red, BNB, not a stable coin, not so stable at all. This is moving to the upside. BNB has been on a run, and I got some data on this we're going to be getting into. Solana also taking a spill to the downside while the ecosystem is just heating up. We also see, look at this, Dogecoin down, Tron down. I mean, the market is just red in general. In fact, the alt season index score here has dropped by about 8 or 9 points here in the matter basically just over the weekend. So what gives? What is going on in this market? Should we be concerned with the price action? Because I'm seeing some overwhelming signals for me that are telling me that I want to stack more and more and more. Why aren't you speaking back to me? I want you to know that you can't sell out. Awareness. I don't know what you're saying, but yeah, shout out to everybody that is here. We got some major things that are lining up, but this is what the market feels like right now. Is it not? I posted this morning, in fact, but this is what people are feeling like. Some people feel like they're in the burning house. Other people are sipping coffee saying, hey, this is clearing up some great real estate. That's going to be a great investment as this market opens up and reverses back to the upside. Now I'm going to show you why I think this market is going to move to the upside. First off, this is what's going on. This right here is what's going on. Everybody's wondering, how the hell are we getting $96 million buy from Sailor, $632 million buy from Metaplanet, Strive, $675 million buy, Capital B, $62.2 million, $1.47 billion in Bitcoin was bought basically, or at least the acknowledgement of the purchases were out this morning. So probably, let's just say over the last week. So why are we seeing this overwhelming purchases? And this does not even take into account the ETFs. And yet we're seeing on the price action losing this key level on the near term. And really, I mean, as it stands right now, really just testing this previous range that we broke out of. We are right now actually breaking below that. So it's starting to get a little worrisome, right? Well, I'm not worried, and I'm going to show you why. In fact, the lower it goes, the more excited I get to buy. Seth Shepard says, buy the fear. And once you really understand this market, you realize that the fear in the market is the signal. We have not gotten to that level in the fear that I'm really looking forward to really start seeing the really big reversal opportunity come in, if it does come. And that is these dark red dots. You see this? So the darker color this is on the red side, the more in fear the market is. We see this was astronomically good buy opportunity. This was the FTX collapse. Amazing buy opportunity. This was a sell-off early on in 2021 before we ultimately got the top. Great buy opportunity. Deep orange near red. Yet again, we pushed up into the golden pocket of this drop down right here. This was the golden pocket of that move. Reverse down. Is it over? Well, we got the deep fear signal right there. Great opportunity to the upside until ultimately we ended up in their bear market on the way down. So not every one of these deep red areas was a great buy opportunity. But then again, it all depends on what your timeline was on the market, because the price action here was $37,000. Wouldn't you like to buy a $37,000 price Bitcoin right now? So as this stands, yes, the market had some further downside, aka better price opportunities. But yet again, we are well above this $37,000. So again, it goes back to what is your time horizon? In the bull trends, this is what I'm really focused on. In the bull trends, in terms of right here, once we've kicked this off, beautiful buy opportunity. Yet again, beautiful buy opportunities here on this 6 to 7 month sideways price action with these massive $17,000 to $21,000 swings. I mean, pretty large moves of price action. Yet every time we got, look at this, sub 30 on the fear and greed index. You see that right there? It says data price score 29, 26, 22. Excellent buy opportunities. Yet again, right in here, when price was at 88,000, got down to 25, went a little deeper, down to 20, down to 16 on the fear and greed index. Yet again, this was an excellent buy opportunity before price action moved to the upside. We're sitting here pretty comfortably. In fact, as excited as people are about it going higher, but also as scared as they are the prices could go lower, we're actually quite neutral. So the fact that this is quite neutral tells me a couple things. One, there's a lot more fear that can be had, AKA there may be some better price opportunity that shows up. And then on this case, I'm looking specifically at the fear and greed index. So I'm not going to do all of my TA and my buy or sell or hold decisions based just on the fear and greed index. But this is showing us we're very neutral. So there is plenty of room to scare the living bejesus out of a lot more people. And those of you that are around and tuned in to this signal will be able to buy these kinds of dips, be able to buy this kind of dip. You see, even here, it didn't quite get down there. So yet again, kind of on the lower side of neutral, right about here in the 40 zone, we see this actually marked a great buy opportunity for the price action to go to the upside. So we're not only going to look for when the red dot appears, when this gets very deep in the orange into the red, because it may not happen. It didn't happen here. It didn't happen here on the ETF sell-off, yet it did happen here and here. So this isn't the only signal we can go at. The point here is we never really got into the euphoria. Look at that score, 74, which is basically about right here on that index. Yet again, right here, 73. I mean, look at these tops here. Coming into this parabolic move in the previous cycle, we got 86, 86, 94, 90, 91, 91, 92, 93. We got really in the euphoria, greed out the wazoo. And yet we have not even really gotten that. We got 90 there. Okay. There was somewhere in there. There's a 90 right there, right in the middle. But we haven't really gotten that parabolic push. We haven't gotten that market with the capital channels just going exponential here. So when we're looking at this, we want to make sure that we're not just getting lost in all of the sauce of just the misdirections, the lies, the FUD, the excitement. We want to make sure we're basing this in fact. And I cannot get that off the screen. Richard Sloan says goodbye. You know what? Goodbye. I welcome anybody that doesn't have a good attitude and wants to contribute to get the hell out of here. See you later. Sayonara. Well, let's talk about what's going on in the market. And Seth Shepard says, yes, exactly, Kelly. Well, let's talk about it because we got some key signals I want to really focus in on right now. First off, right here, we have the sell-off in Ethereum. It was hovering around that $7,500 mark. Felt super good, right? Felt so good. But let's look at this. Everybody's losing their minds that the alt season, the crypto market, the pump season is over because we had a little bit of a pullback. Well, let's look. March 2020, 39, almost 40% pullback. May 2021, 27% pullback. June 2022, 21, almost 22% pullback. And what do you notice? These time periods, prices have gone a lot higher from where we've seen in these zones. Now, the takeaway, today's 6% drop shouldn't scare you. Stay patient. You will be rewarded. This from Milk Road Daily. Go give them a follow. Always great content over there. But that just points to the context of this market. When we come down here to Ethereum, people are losing their minds because they see this red, not realizing that this entire thing, this entire market is setting up in a way that we've never even seen. The asymmetrical bet is just arrived on the table because of the support we have with all the regulatory bodies, not pushing everybody out of the USA or basically chopping people down because they're getting involved with the token like we've seen every day going up until leading up to January 20th when we had the new administration come in. Again, if you don't like them, that's okay. This isn't about politics. This is about looking at an asset class that's either being supported by the most powerful government in the world or not. We just got to the point where we're getting supported and we're seeing an astronomical shift in institutional mind share around Bitcoin and crypto. And yet people are worried on this candle right here because we got a bit of a dip. Oh my God, it's down 7%, almost 8%. It's over. I see this as a screaming authority towards take your opportunities when you can get them, because I do not think this market's going to stay down here very long. Coming back over to what we're looking at right now, we also just got this case in point of what I was just talking about. U.S. lawmakers urge the SEC chair, who is very pro-crypto, to implement President Trump's executive order, further strengthening that support of the crypto movement, opening the $12.5 trillion retirement market to crypto. Over $12 trillion are going to be opened up to getting exposure, whether it's 1%, 10%, 30%, we will see, and this will change over time. But looking at this, I mean, the capital channel is coming in right now, and people look at this and go, but we have a red candle. We have so much bullishness everywhere else. Take advantage of the fundamentals that are not yet represented in price. Let me say that again. Take advantage of fundamental shifts in landscape that are in support of an asset, whether it's adoption, whether it's fees, whether it's integrations, whether it's partnerships. Take advantage of fundamental developments when it is not yet represented in prices in that asset class. That is where you make the biggest amount of gains in your portfolio. It just takes you to have the courage to buy when everybody else is scared, to hodl, to hold on for dear life, to just hold those bags when you're not sure what to do, and be able to extend your time horizon to endure some of these frustrating market movements that we're seeing. But when you zoom out on this, you don't get so frustrated. This has been one large accumulation before that next move to the upside. And I'm going to show you why. Now, next thing up, we got right here. This is part of that TA I wanted to break down for you all right now. And I say I have full confidence. Still, I love the dips. Shout out to Freedom for Crypto. That's a great comment right there. I got to highlight that. Stay calm, mofos. That's right. We got to make sure we're staying calm and acting on strategy, not reacting from emotions. Okay, because look at this. The Bitcoin implied volatility at historic lows. The calm before the storm here, says Quentin Francois. And look at this. I want you to notice where this yellow line is. I don't care if you can't read this chart. I'm going to break it down for you simply. If this is low, the last time this has been very low, what happened? This marked the bottom of this move right here before we launched up. Also, this was the low of this range right here. And what do you notice? That marked the bottom of the chart, the bottom of this entire bull trend. Now, what do you see where we're at right now? We're essentially at about the same spot based on this chart of where we were back here in July of 2023. But it gets better, because we can see the last time Bitcoin's 90 realized, basically 90-day realized vol was this low, was the end of 2016. You see, we have gone below that same chart we just looked at. This is looking at that in a different metric. And what do you see? This is showing, man, the vol is volatility, just so you know. This is broken below that. Basically, the last time we've been this low is back here in 2016. What did you all remember from the chart? And if you haven't looked back, maybe you got here this year, last year, the year before, you need to understand the history of where this market's come from. Because when you understand that, 2016 would have marked basically about right. This is July of 2016 right here. So where is December? Right here is the end of December. This was 2016, from the summer to the end of 2016. What happened in 2017? The massive move to the upside. And this is just after where we see that the volatility, the realized volatility, so low. This is also case in point when we come back over to Bitcoin. Let's actually go to a clean chart. I'm going to go over here. Let's go to this chart right here. We're going to come here. We're going to type in BB for Bollinger Bands, and we're going to look at this on the weekly. Okay, double click here to go to auto mode. Notice when these areas get very tight, let me zoom in, there we go. When these areas start to pinch in like this, when this gets very tight, this is because the price action has been going sideways, especially over the period of about 20, in this case, we're on the weekly. So the 20 weekly period, when you're not getting a lot of movement up or down out of a range, these Bollinger Bands are basically projecting and capturing how much volatility has happened over the last 20 period. So on the last 20 weeks here, there's been not much volatility. So these pinched in. When you get these pinches, everything in cycles oscillate from very tight volatility to very expansive volatility. The volatility does not indicate what direction. It means a big move is coming. So now when we know that we have this tightened volatility, similarly, we look at this, getting very tight here, tighter than we were before this move here, tighter than we were before this move here, roughly, I would say roughly about actually a little bit tighter than before we saw this move down here from $25,000 all the way up here to 74,000. That is not a small gain in the chart. That is, roughly about 181%. And look at how tight this volatility is right here. Looking at the Bollinger Bands getting tightened in. A big move is coming. In fact, we very well may get another move to the downside before we move up, much like we saw right here. This should not scare you. If it happens, we will just be there. We will be prepared because we're not here to be scared out of this market when the biggest asset managers in the history of the world, governments around the world, institutions, big money players, the world is coming into Bitcoin right now in a way that you can't even imagine. Now, if you're a meme player, if you're just a micro altcoin player, micro caps, that's fine. You need to know these charts in Bitcoin because this is going to give you the roadmap for what is happening with the capital flow in general. It's going to give you that leading signal for when capital is really going to be coming in en masse to the rest of the ecosystem. So let's pay attention to this. And HUSB, I see you got E and A. Might just be an acronym for something, but we're going to be highlighting that here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned for that. But let's get back into this because we got the nowhere near that fear section that I think we may hit before this moves up. However, the context right now is still highlighting, just like my video on Friday afternoon here on Discover Crypto, I highlighted that I still think we're going to be hitting at least not just a top, but at least $150,000 by Christmas. So why am I talking about a potential pullback? Well, first off, I highlighted the pullback on Friday going into the weekend. I talked about looking at this move. Let's come back over to this chart right here. We're going to zoom in here. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, double click here, put it on auto. We talked about the move from up here to down here. That move, if we remove this Fibonacci, Option F if you're on Mac, Alt F if you're on PC, and that way you can just get a fib. I'm doing it from the top of that wick to the bottom there. I just want you to notice something. We talked about the price action as it was moving up, watching for what happens when the price hits the golden pocket, because it's a very overwhelming regularity of price action having trouble there or having a near-term reversal when it gets to that level. And this is exactly what happened. So now came down, formed a bit of a basically double top here, right? A neckline, broke through. So where do you go? Well, it fell right through the 382 of that move. But look at where it's hovering, right at the neckline of the move, the breakout from this move that gave us the move up to the golden pocket. So as it stands right now, just looking at this section of price action right here, inverse head and shoulders breakout, cool. What do you want to do when you see a price action? When you see a pattern breakout, you want to see the price revisit and test that area to confirm the flip of this previous resistance to support. So as of right now, and it could change, as of right now, until we get a bit lower from here, this is what I'm seeing currently. RSI is pretty exhausted all the way down here. Look at this. It's sub 22. It's about 22. The money flow came down sharply. And look at where this money flow crossed. Crazy how the money flow and the RSI kind of gives you the signal. The RSI tested the 50 line, which is right about right here, option J. See that? RSI is trending down towards the 50 line. It loses it, comes up and rejects while the money flow flips negative. This was a signal, more likely than not, this was going to break down. What did it do? Broke down, went to the next key level that we had on the chart. That's one of the charts. We can also look at it like this. We had a rising channel. What do rising channels tend to do? They tend to break down more often than not. The breakdown doesn't mean the end of this macro trend, okay? The breakdown on a 4-hour rising channel does not mean the end of this macro bull trend. I just want you all to understand that and hear that. Rising channel, 4 hours. There's a 4-hour chart. Okay, yes, it broke down, but we also had the price action signal that we also were talking about that just a second ago. The money flow was sucking liquidity out of the ecosystem, AKA there's not much gas in the tank for it to drive up a hill. We want the price action to drive up a hill, right? But sometimes who cares if it does or not? I want to make sure that I'm positioned if the indications are this car cannot go up the hill. This money flow coming out and the strength falling under and rejecting at this 50 line saying strength is in control. Sorry, weakness is in control here. Then that says, okay, for trading, you take a short there or you get out of a long if you're in one and look for a lower opportunity to get in. And again, there was about $1 billion in liquidations happening of longs, records of 2025 of how much liquidation happened from last night to this morning. And this is all while the landscape is getting more and more and more and more overwhelmingly bullish. Why would they do that? There's a limited amount of Bitcoin. The world's waking up to it. And there's so many paper-handed, I can't even say the word on here. I'm trying to be more positive. I'm trying to be less of a dirty mouth. I'm trying to just, we need to strengthen our resolve through education. We need to strengthen our resolve to understanding what is happening in the crypto ecosystem, the embrace that the world's giving it. There's still, I mean, we're still so early in this that the world wants to shake as many people out as possible. The big money players, BlackRock, Fidelity, yeah, they want you to buy, of course, but they also want to make sure that they can get positioned as best possible. Now, is it BlackRock doing this? I don't think so. Is it Binance doing this? I don't think so. Are there market makers out there looking at liquidation heat maps like we are? Yeah, but they're not looking at CoinGlass. They're looking at, they're looking at very, 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 very highly advanced data with quant analysis and AI interpretation, giving them like data breakdowns of probabilities and where there's liquidity and how they can move markets and use the market's momentum to their advantage. Because pushing the price down into this zone where this is all this bright yellow gives them an advantage, because if they can come down and scoop up this liquidity, they very likely, if the bulls don't immediately come in because they're not scared, in this case, the bulls, a majority were scared because they did not come in. But what happens is you come down and flush through this area and then you get cascading liquidations. And if these are longs, forced closure of a long is a sell. So that's why you get the quick movement to the downside. And you can see this in the price action on the chart. If you look at this on the 1 hour charts. This is a move down into liquidity zone. Boom, quick move. And then boom, that was a liquidation right there. So the question is going to be between now and Wednesday. And yes, I say Wednesday because we got big things happening tomorrow morning. I think Trump might be talking right now, but I'm tired of doing politics. I want to break down charts with you guys. What if Trump's talking about Tylenol and autism? Great. That doesn't affect our ability to look at these markets. Okay. When we're on, you and I, we're going to be focused on data, on-chain, technical analysis, levels, how to identify them, how to catch these reversals. Now, tomorrow morning, Trump is talking again, and I think we'll likely go live for when that happens. But there's a huge speculation about very, very positive political movement in terms of crypto. So we're going to have to see what that is in the morning. And then I got Dennis Porter, who is part of that U.S. policy lobbying efforts for Bitcoin. He's coming on tomorrow at 4 p.m. So make sure you are here for that. Make sure you're subscribed here on Discover Crypto YouTube and BitLab Academy, over on the Discover Crypto X and my page over at Kelly Kellum. But we will definitely be watching for this. But as this stands right now, this just looks like liquidity cascading, basically liquidation cascades to the downside. Now, where is the price actually also bouncing? Look at this line right here. Let's go back out 4 hours. Okay, what is this line? Okay, doesn't really line up. Let's look out. Well, look at that. This price action came down, and where is it testing? If I make it super bright for you, let me know if you can see it. Look at where that is testing. Very bright blue line right here. Previous range high. Large range high too. This was that high that we had in May of last year. So as it stands right now, if we ignored every line on the chart and just looked at it, and you see how I have this price line? If you want to have a price line like this on your chart, right click here, go down to settings. Actually, it's not right there. It's right here. Right click here on the price axis here, and you go down to lines and you do price line right there. You see how it turned off? Go back down to lines. You can turn it back on. But this currently, the only thing I'm seeing is move up from the bottom, a retrace. And what do we normally see in bull trends? Rise, retrace, continuation, or rise, retrace, an attempted continuation. That's a lower high, and then a breakdown. So we have two things very important here, and it's confounding everybody. We have the price action breaking down, testing this previous range high, but we also have a lower low here followed by a lower high, which could signal another leg to the downside. So while the context is overwhelmingly bullish, there are mixed signals right now in the immediate, I'm talking like between now and the end of the week, about where the price action is likely going to go. So you need to be a little bit adaptable. If you're looking long-term, then we're looking for opportunities. For me, this is a great buy opportunity. It's testing this level, the inverse head and shoulders neckline level, and this previous range high level. That's not guaranteeing this is going to be the bottom. It's going to go up from here. But on a technical level, that seems like a pretty good level to me. Now, if this were to break down and lose this level, then we're going to be looking for some lower targets. You know, I mean, I'm really watching this $107,000 mark. If we lose that, then I do think we're going to come down a bit lower into the 101 to 103 level, and we'll have to revisit. But the context of this market is overwhelming and bullish. And here's one of those reasons. Oops, let me exit out of that. Phases of the global business cycle. I want you to notice the different colors here. Okay, we have this yellow-ish, brown, ugly color here. This is a bear trend. See again, bear trend. You see again here, bear trend. This is liquidity weighted global risk index. Okay, this line down here. This is Bitcoin price. This is a liquidity weighted global risk index. And we see a couple things lining up here. Certain interactivity of what's happening in the basically global risk index movement there that also corresponds with price action expanding to the upside on Bitcoin's price. Look, moving up, Bitcoin's price move up. Okay, move up. Oh, Bitcoin's price move up. And what do we see when price action is just still in the choppy accumulation phase that I've been highlighting for probably over a year and a half this cycle, talking about what's going on in this market, this bull trend that we're in. The theory a year and a half ago about this likely being an extended cycle. And yet we won't know until sometime next year whether or not we have the top this cycle or if this is persisting. But the data is telling me we are getting that extension, because as we're looking at this, this is that chop zone right here where the global liquidity is flat, right? The global liquidity risk index, not just global. The global liquidity has been soaring, but the risk index has been flat, choppy. And what do you see? Basically, slight burn to the upside. Okay, right here, risk index dropping through when we actually had a move from 3,500 up to 14,000, then the sell-off, then COVID, then launch. Now, what do you notice here? We've had this slow burn to the upside, partially because of the nature, the physics of supply and demand and what that will do to price of an asset. Okay, price has been going to the upside, except I think people would be surprised to realize this has been going to the upside without the assistance of what we've seen in every one of these major uptrends in Bitcoin in previous cycles of this mass expand, the risk just moving up here, moving up here, moving up here. This has been flat, and yet we've gone from $15,500 up to $124,600. This tells me what's coming most of you are not prepared for. And that's evidence when we look at crypto Twitter and people see this and they go, it's over because of this. Well, look at this right here, you sucker. Look at that. That is, oh my God, 11%. Was that over? No, that was a slingshot to the upside. Was it over here? No, went up. Are we still moving down out of this range? Sure. But when we look back at the price action, that's on the 4 hour. Let's go to the 12 hour. We have these pretty, I mean, this was not a small move. Look at that. That's a 32% move to the downside up here. Look at that. That is about 32% to the downside. And yet again, right here, we just had a little bit of a wick to the downside, about 3-4%, and people are losing their minds. I'm looking at this going, please go lower. I want to stack lower. If this drops, then also, what's that other thing every one of us is looking at? The others chart. And everybody goes, all the altcoins are crashing. If you look at the others chart, do you see a crash? This is the pattern where that crash should be in. No, I see a pullback to a known level, a known support line here. So coming back over to the coin market cap, we're still doing the same thing we've done for several, basically a couple months now, oscillating around that $4 trillion mark. I think when the market is ready, and we have Jerome Powell speaking tomorrow, we got Trump speaking tomorrow, we have more legislation that may be getting announced or getting passed tomorrow or pushed through, or I don't know, maybe it's California getting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. California is not just a state, it's the 5th largest economy in the world. California as a state in the US, great, but they are larger than 95, or I mean, more than that, 181 different countries out there. Their economy is massive. So, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know. I just know there's some things. It's going to be some Pacific Coast time. We're at see how it is. And we got the information, I think, is coming out mid-morning tomorrow. And then we got Dennis Porter, who is a part of pushing some of these decisions forward, who won't tell me what it is, but we're going to get him, break it down. And we're going to have a special guest on that one tomorrow as well. So make sure you're hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and dinging the bell. Kelly, are you calling for 107K? No, I am not. I'm saying that there is a scenario in which the price action would, reasonably go to that level. But when we look at the liquidation heat map, I just want you to notice on the 1 week chart, we've scooped up the liquidity below us. So let's zoom out on this liquidation heat map. Let's go to 1 month. Let's see what this looks like, because I have not looked at this. Okay, not just a smattering of liquidity below us, but not a lot of heated up liquidity above us. So there's not really a hell of a lot of shorts here. And there's just some mild bit of longs that are in through this. So we've already flushed out this big tranche, but we have all of this. See, that's 23 million, 100 million, 75. It ends up being quite a bit if we were to flush all the way down to 107,000. I think this would be like, we get bad news tomorrow, right? We're not doing anything with crypto. Gesundheit. Sorry about that. I'm just saying there is a scenario that could happen. I'm still leaning much more bullish, and I'll show you why. Check it out. We talked about the global risk index. This has been flat. Once risk really comes into this market, this is essentially going to be akin to what we saw in the 2017 cycle here. This is basically what we've traversed in this entire stretch so far this cycle. We've done basically this portion. We have not gotten this portion, which I still heavily believe we will, because when we look at the dip, this is what we're seeing. For the last few weeks, we talked about this Bitcoin move, basically a bounce off the SB. Look at this. Just coming down, finding support. Now we have dipped below this and chopped around this. So if we were to hit that 107, that would be similar to what we've seen in the past. Let's make everybody believe it's over. Let's make them believe it's over. Well, this may or may not happen with how much tension is pent up in this market. Going back to that first thing that we shared, remember, this is not slowing down. We're seeing more publicly traded companies stack. We're seeing more governments implement and integrate Bitcoin or Bitcoin mining or something of the sort. We're seeing other major crypto developments as well. So while we're getting a bit of a pullback into a known band, okay, we need to be a little bit more cautious, patient here, because this is what I'm still seeing. Yes, I'm hyper focused on Bitcoin, but I play in the trenches too. And I try to pick stuff that I think has the highest probability in those trenches to actually have a solid possibility for a hit rate. Things like Chainlink, things like BitTensor Tau, Morpho, Avalanche, Injective, Solana, Ethereum, absolutely, BNB, Athena is one of those that's very substantiated now with some of the partnerships that they've done. Also, DZ highlighting, and there's going to be a video tonight really diving into Athena, ENA, backing of BlackRock and Binance, guys. And then we're looking at this chart. What is this? This is the others chart, all those altcoins, but this is others divided by Bitcoin. So you're seeing basically the others chart and how they react over the course of cycles in terms of periods of growing a lot faster than Bitcoin and the majority of the time of them losing value against Bitcoin. But then are we going to get that next absolute monster move to the upside? I do think we will. Will we hit all the way up into this projected top from this trend line? I don't know. But I'd be looking for something at least middle of the pack here, and then you reassess along the way. So why is that? Why do I think that even though I'm partial Bitcoin maxi, but I want to take investment opportunities and risk in the altcoin space and have, I have a meme coin. Absolutely. And I talk about it on my X all the time. It's not my meme coin. I have a meme coin in my portfolio that I have far too much of, but it's because I believe it in the landscape of memes and the fact that it is on Bitcoin. And those of you out there that know what it is, you can throw it in the live chat there. I think many of you do. But why is this? So why do I think the altcoins are going to have, especially the others, everything outside the top 10, going to have that mass, that huge expansion phase where they outrun Bitcoin? Well, part of the reason is, a conservative assessment. Still undervalued. Why? Why undervalued? Well, first off, I posted this morning. This is the average crypto RSI. So everything in crypto. The average crypto RSI this morning was oversold. Now, we'll look at the update since this morning to see where it's at now. But this is showing that, the average crypto RSI was 29. Remember, when we come back over here, when we're looking at RSI, it gets really oversold, or AKA very weak is what it really indicates. Very weak strength, very strong strength, right? RSI, relative strength index. When this is very low, people basically use the words it's oversold. Because, like I said earlier, everything in markets oscillate. They go from up to down. They go from tight volatility to an expansion of volatility. RSI goes from very oversold or very weak to very strong and very overbought, right? So when we look back at that chart, where is that chart? Right here. Right. Here we go. Most of the crypto out there, the average was sub 30. And we can see it on this chart here what these different coins are, right? Aster still kind of overbought, and the RSI could cool off a bit before you want to take a swing of that pump. Very overheated up here, just shy of 90. But then you got things down here. You got Ethereum down here. Quite low. That's right about the 30 mark. You got XRP, Solana. The majority of them are here. So what is it looking like now? This morning, it was 29.91. And where are we at right now? 29.34. Let's see if that's changed. Yeah, it's right at about 30. So this is going to change and oscillate, move around. But I'm more willing in the strength of a macro bull trend when assets are looking like they're getting oversold. They're very weak. Everybody's scared. That's when you start looking for the setups in the particular assets and the particular niches that you like. Same thing is true in meme coins. Okay, so we're getting a picture here that's suggesting we might be in a relatively oversold area in this market with many of these coins. So what am I looking at? Well, first off, there is a bullish divergence right now on the RSI for dominance. So why am I talking about this? And this is on Bitcoin dominance when we're talking about altcoins, because this is going to give you also that sort of generalized signal about where we're at in the sentiment in altcoins. Is capital really flooding into them, or is capital kind of concentrating on Bitcoin at the moment? And I'm not saying this is going to absolutely moon here, but you have to pay attention to the fact that you do have a pretty strong multi-month bullish divergence here on the RSI rounding out. So in my opinion, this isn't just bounce going straight all the way back up. In my opinion, we may get a little bit more of a move up here, but I'd be watching somewhere around the 58 to 60, about 60%, somewhere in this range where this low is here. If we get that pump at all. But there's major things that keep developing in the altcoin space. BNB topped Solana in chain fees 3 days in a row. Now, this may have something to do with what's going on with Aster. Aster just absolutely melted faces to the upside. For those of you that don't know what Aster is, it's essentially the Binance Hyperliquid. Okay, it's not Binance's, but it's it's another alternative perp dex out there. And when you see this, when you see Binance and the price action on Binance has just been flying also, the BNB coin, this is one of those fundamental things. I'm not saying it's negative for Solana, rather that BNB, for some reason, in many people's lens in the market, they don't focus enough on this. I don't know if it's an East versus West thing or just the bubbles we're in, But Binance, I mean, when you come over here and you look at BNB, BNB has been performing, beautifully. I mean, look at this move. This is an 8-hour chart too. This isn't a 3-minute chart where, oh my God, it's pumping and then it dumps. No, this is an 8-hour chart just melting to the upside, building beautiful structure too, moving up, moving down, moving up, washing people out down, moving up, consolidating a bit, breaking out to the upside. Very, very healthy bullish structure. Now, RSI, money flow has been coming up. RSI has been going up. However, in the most near term, we do have a bit of a, flattening of the RSI tops here. So it's not, I wouldn't necessarily call it a bearish divergence, but there is a softening of the bullish posture here to have an immediate, I'm talking about in the next 2 days, continuation of the upside. And I'm speaking in likelihoods. It's looking unlikely that's going to happen looking at this 8-hour chart. When we look at the daily chart, bearish divergence there. So now we get a bigger picture. Bearish divergence, lower lows on the RSI, much higher highs. See from here, from 835 all the way up here to $1,100, or right just under $1,100. And look at where price went. I did not draw this today. This is on the chart as an outline from sometime last week, probably even before that. 1.618, the golden fib extension. Price action went right there. Let's zoom in. Wouldn't you know it, a wick up went up there, tapped it, and then came back down. The candle itself also signaled a bit of a pullback. Why? Shooting star. Large wick, no body. Bulls tried and they failed. Every one of these things on the chart gives you data. The shape of candles, the size of candles in relationship to their wick, and also how they form different patterns. In this case, big, very bulls dominating this candle. Bulls tried, bulls failed. So bears are warming up. Now look, bears take over. Now the question is going to be here. This doesn't mean this is going to be a full reversal, but this signal, we're probably going to get some sort of attempt to the downside. Boom, we got it. Currently, this is still holding at these levels in the 980s, 990s zone. If this loses, I'd be watching. We already have a line there from the fibs that are paying it, that the price action is paying attention to. So I'd be watching something like this coming into here, potentially testing this region right here, right about the low 900 zones. So that's what I'd be watching on BNB. But we're seeing positive bullish fundamentals there. Let me close some of these. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. We saw that. Okay. Yeah. So BNB fees heating up. Good bullish fundamental. Avalanche. South Korea's first ever stablecoin launched on Avalanche, but it's not just that. But wait, there's more. We also got, in the past 30 days, Avalanche RWA volume hit 453 million, soaring 130%. This is what I like to see. This number is irrelevant to me. I want to see what's the growth or the expansion or contraction of what we're seeing in growth. 130% growth in 30 days on RWAs or Avalanche. They launch, South Korea launches a stablecoin on Avalanche. In addition to that, you also see Anthony Scaramucci, who is an absolute powerhouse in the Bitcoin community, now also launches basically an Avalanche Avax treasury. I mean, rebrands Avax One, raising $550 million to become the first NASDAQ-listed pure play Avax company. So you're getting exposure to Avalanche through Avax One. I mean, we're seeing growth, and it's not just Avalanche, it's Chainlink, it's Solana, it's Ethereum. We're seeing the corporate world setting up infrastructure to integrate. We're seeing the stockification of crypto, and we're seeing the tokenization of stocks. We're seeing a merger of the legacy global financial infrastructure with crypto at a record pace. The capital that's coming in is insane. The setup for it is insane as well. So BNB, great. Avalanche, we saw a nice move up here. Look at this. The bears brought it down and the bulls ate this candle back up. So far, this looks like a washout. Just looking at these candles, washout down, the bulls eating it back up. But we got to pay attention to what happens between now and Wednesday. If we have a down sort of trajectory and price action into Monday into Tuesday, then Wednesday, and it's not just because of this, I've shared this before, Wednesday is the most bullish day in Bitcoin and Ethereum markets, and therefore it will have an impact across the rest of the crypto ecosystem as well. I shared that not so long ago. Let's actually look over here. Let's go to bookmarks. I've got it. Actually, you know what? I have it on my page. I got it on my page. So I can make sure you're giving me a follow. It's right here at Kelly Kellum. That's how you spell it. LLYLLAM. But I got it over here somewhere. Let me just find it real quick, because it's kind of shocking when you see people really break this stuff down. Right here. Here we go. Reminder, pump day rather than dump day. This is 3-month average returns by day. Bitcoin, this is, eclipses every other day of the week. Ethereum eclipses every other day of the week, especially if you have the Sunday sell-offs into Monday. You get people setting up buys for higher while the price is moving lower. They're scooping up as much liquidity as they can by trying to convince people that it's scary so they can get better prices. So when we're looking at this and we look at the others chart and we realize now, as bullish as I am, yes, the price action only came back to this level, but also remember, these rising wedges do tend to break out down before they go up. So let's just pay attention to this. My point here is this isn't meant to be scary. It's just be prepared. You might get some better opportunities to lower your average entries or to find an opportunity to buy lower. I'm not going to recommend longing. I'm not going to recommend shorting. I'm just going to say I'm looking at, if we do get some drops in the assets that I have multi-month or year plus positions on in altcoins, I'm looking to average in on prices if we do get the breakdown in that other chart, in those different altcoins that we're looking at. But Avalanche, remember, Avalanche was a mover on a very similar pattern that we saw on Ondo, there's quite a few coins with this very large sort of bottoming formation. We got the move up, came back, retested that previous range here. We may have a little bit more down to go if that were to happen, but very, very bullish structure here. Money flow up. We're looking at the daily. Yeah, RSI up. Is cooling off a bit. If the RSI can hold above this 55 region, I think we're very much still in control with the bulls. But this is looking good so far. What's it looking like on the 4-hour? Okay, move up, came back, tested this range. Now, if this can break out of this, great. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of consolidation between now and Wednesday. Remember, big day tomorrow. Powell speaking, Donald Trump speaking. We have it was economic data that's coming throughout this week. But I'm saying take your patience pills, which just means look at the data, stop being so confounded by price, excitement, hope, fear, all that nonsense. Look at the data and set up now what you are going to do if this, then that throughout the rest of this week. So when prices go to those levels that you've already basically taken a look at, you have an action plan. Because then we come over here and look at Solana. It's over. Well, is it? I think this is, the Solana ecosystem and the community is so strong that look at this. All this is so far, this ran away. Price is coming back to revisit. The bulls currently are only just testing this previous range high, 215. Doesn't look scary to me. The money flow looks a little scary that this just flipped negative, but what's it looking like on the 4-hour? Okay, it's looking negative here, but the price is holding up as the money flow is coming out a little bit more through this. Okay, it's flattening out. RSI is quite low. Let's get a little bit smaller time frame. Okay, money flow is choppy here. RSI starting to look like it wants to make that move because look right here, made the move, right here, made the move. If this does get that move, we're going to want to watch Solana, a potential challenging spot right there at the 231. Why? Because when price is moving up after it's broken down from a high, watch. First thing you want to watch on the way up, the most simple, is where's the previous range lows? It's the most obvious area to either set if you're trading, to set basically take profit to exit, or at least have an alert on your chart to pay attention when it comes here, because it might come here, reject back down, and then launch right through it. It might come up here, reject, and completely signal that next leg down. This is why we look at the charts every day. And then Aster, absolutely just, look at this. This just looks like since it launched, it just formed a giant bull flag. It feels like, to me, it feels crazy to get into this right now because, let's come over here and look at this. Let's come up here. Let's go to Aster. One, the RSI on the large, it's kind of looking a bit high, but this went from nothing to up to $2.5 billion market cap. Okay. Amazing. They have some token releases coming out, some emissions, some of the early investors, token unlocks. Okay. So is that the end of the world? Not when you have the hype train like CZ out there, or at least the assumption of how tied in with this he is, and people looking what happened with Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid went up to $18-20 billion market cap, right? And this is looking like it kind of wants to, like W formation. Money flow is negative. We're getting slightly higher lows here on this price action, right? Slightly trending up here. But again, guys, this just made an astronomical move from down here. I went more. That's because this is a newer chart. This was much below this. This was down at like 10 cents. But this is just since it was listed on this on MEXC. Yeah, so that's why. So I'd be a little cautious on this one, but don't fade something just because you're being cautious, because then you'll kick yourself in the shin. Like, oh, but I mean, I did it when this was 60 cents. I was like, oh man, maybe I'll wait for a bit of a pullback. That was here. The price came up into this. Remember, there's an older chart than this somewhere. And then this just went, from this point here all the way up here to $1.95, $1.98, ridiculous. It has a lot of the right players behind it. One of those players that's involved with it in some regard is CZ with Binance and Athena, and DZ is going to be breaking that down this evening. But this may be given a good opportunity. Remember, this is part of the World Liberty Finance portfolio as well. So what I'm seeing here is prices falling. So this doesn't scare me. What I want to see here in an uptrend, in this nice move to the upside, also getting a part of a member of the presidential administration, their family has a crypto ecosystem, World Liberty Financial. And one of those things they've been stacking is Athena, ENA, stablecoin. You have a token from the stablecoin. Cool. But then also the fact that Binance and BlackRock might also have, some ties with this. Well, then as the price was falling, then I say, what is the other data? Well, money flow is coming out. Cool. Maybe they're just trying to shake us out of our bags. RSI is falling super low. The RSI is lower here than it was on this dip right here. You see, RSI much higher here, much lower here, but the price is getting a bit lower. I'd be watching for an opportunity potentially down here at about 52 cents, maybe a bit lower if we leg down a little bit lower, about 46 cents. But I do expect this to perform very well in this cycle. But guys, I really do think we've got some really good opportunities in this market brewing right now for those that are paying attention to the data and not getting confounded and sidetracked with the price. The price is a data point that you look in relationship to the other data points on that asset. Also the context of the ecosystem, and also what is the forward-looking outlook of what's going to be happening with global liquidity, with where you project risk might be in the market, but also how crypto is fitting into that picture as the world is waking up to it with corporations, treasuries, institutions, big money players, countries, sovereigns. I mean, guys, the world's waking up. So right now, when we're seeing a dip as the world's waking up, I say do not sleep on the opportunities that are here. I think it's going to go a lot higher. I think there's going to be some chop along the way. I think the move right now, the crash, I think is just a shakeout for the tourists. So you got to ask yourself, are you a tourist? Throw a 1 in chat if you're a tourist and you're only trading. Maybe you're just a trader. You're just trading the small swings. You don't care if it goes up or down. But type in bull in the chat if you think we're going to be going a lot higher this year, because I really do think we are. I think we're setting up for it. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. 3,886 people tuning in right now across our platforms. Big love to each and every one of you. Make sure you are following Discover Crypto. Make sure you are following my page as well. This is my page right here. Make sure you're following me is right here at Kelly Kellum. Make sure you follow. And then, of course, make sure you're following our homies, our friends. Let me get out of that. I'm trying to go. God dang it. Trying to do it easy. Dang it. Here we go. Boom. Make sure you're following Discover Crypto right here at Discover Crypto _. Get active in the live chats. Get active in our Discord. Drew and I are in there most mornings breaking down charts, talking about what happened the night before, trades were taken, all these kinds of things. But big love to you all. The link for the Discord is down below in the description here on YouTube. I love you. Oh, also, Remember all those 401k things? I do want to shout out our channel partners. Bitcoin IRA. Take advantage of this. If you're day trading, get over to bitcoinira.com. You can day trade up to over 80 different cryptocurrencies. Why would you want to trade in a retirement account? Because we did the math on this. If 3 of the altcoins that I'm actively trading go to the targets that I'm looking at, and I day trade in Bitcoin IRA and then rotate those profits into Bitcoin, I can save myself about, I think it was like $3.5 million over the course of 20 years based on how much attrition, how much reduction, destruction of my profits when you have to pay taxes on every day trade you're doing. When you're trading in a retirement account, you get to shelter a lot of those taxes because you're doing it in a retirement account. So why not take a portion of it that you're day trading in altcoins, or even Bitcoin, and do it in a retirement account? So and take advantage of the massive amount of difference in profits that you're going to see over the next 15 or 20 years. Head over to bitcoinira.com. Give them a call, 1-877-936-7175. Let them know Kelly Kellum sent you. Let them know Discover Crypto sent you. And of course, everything that you're doing, make sure you're protecting yourself. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code DC20. Protect your crypto, protect your future. Thank you to our channel partners, keeping us going. And thank you to each and every one of you that's here. That's put your hand on your heart. Tell yourself you're grateful for this opportunity. You're grateful that we're here in this world together, that we have at the time when crypto, blockchain, AI, we're at the changing of the entire world's guard right now. We're doing it here together. I love you all. I hope you all find some forgiveness for yourself today. We all did something stupid today. Somebody in your family did something stupid today. Forgive them. Let's go forward in peace. I love you guys. Adios, muchachos.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.